Hi everyone, it's the Hockey Man here presenting you the very first franchise mode simulation of the channel. Today we're testing out the oldest draft class group dating back from 1996 to 2002. So lots of legends to look forward to in this video. The goal of the series is to compare how the different draft classes stack against one another, and we'll do a little standings at the end just to visualize all that. But before we kick things off, I just want to clarify a few rules I've implemented in the series. So first off, I've decided the team holding the first overall pick of that particular draft will be the team hosting the players of that draft class. In which case the Columbus Blue Jackets selected Rick Nash first overall in 2002, so that's the team I'm going with. As for the current players on the Blue Jackets, there were two options. Either they return to their previous team or they go to free agency. So like a player like Seth Jones, who was drafted by Nashville, was returned to the Predators. I kept the salary cap on, so this should create an interesting dynamic as to where different players from free agency land. So like a team like Ottawa, who has lots of cap space, has the opportunity to get a guy like Zach Werenski in this case. And the last thing I want to add is the injuries will remain off for the season. I'm really curious what this roster can do on a consistent basis. So we'll take a look at the lineup here, and I organized the lines based off chemistry. So I put a player like Kovalchuk on the second line, but that only adds to the intrigue as to how well he's going to perform not playing against those top line players every night and playing with a legendary centerman like Joe Thornton, who has over 1,000 career assists. On the fourth line, you have Henrik Zetterberg, guy who had his career cut short by injuries, but I'm really curious to see what kind of impact he can bring. I mean, well-reputed guy, plays the game right, so I'm curious to see what happens there. For scratches, we have Ryan Whitney, who I picked up off the alumni team. I won't play him because he is retired and that doesn't reflect his actual overall in the game, but I didn't think Roy or Hossa should be going in place of Zetterberg. So we'll roll with the punches here. We'll play that line out. And on defense, we got some big bodies, but some very responsible players. Keith, Boomister, Chara can still move the puck very well, so they're going to have to be on top of their game if this team is going to make a run for the playoffs. And in goal, same story. Lundqvist and Smith going to have to play on top of their game if they're going to make a run for the playoffs again. So we'll take a look at the free agent situation right now. And there's a little bit of a plot twist going on. You can see names like Barzal, Dubois, Dunn, all listed as RFAs. Only reason for that being is the current roster I'm using right now is the very first one released by EA back in October. And obviously the season started in January, so these guys were not signed on their respective teams. And down the line here, you can see an 88 overall player going by the name of Wang. Doesn't quite look 18. He is on the Jackets. I don't want it to influence the simulation, so I will keep him but not sign him. So that's going to be it for that. We'll go take a look at the unrestricted free agents, which will really impact the dynamic of the simulation. So you can see guys like Werenski, Atkinson, Bufflin, all players currently on the open market and can really influence and impact the direction of teams that can afford these guys. So like, for example, Ottawa, who has tons of cap space, could get one or two of these guys and really make a push for the playoffs. Back in the main menu, we're going to go ahead and simulate the preseason and check out what that can give us in terms of record. We know that goal scoring might be a little bit challenged, apparently not against Carolina. But also defense. I mean, we do have Lundqvist, we do have Smith, but how reliable are these guys? Apparently not too bad. 5-1-1 after the preseason. We'll go check out these statistics. 10 assists for Joe Thornton, no goals. So came as advertised. So led the league in points. Lots of pluses. That's a good sign for this team. Kovalchuk, 7 goals, 9 points in 7 games. That's exactly what the doctor ordered for this team. Go down the lineup. Scoring seems pretty balanced. Like Duncan Keith, 6 points. Playing on that first pair with Boomister. It's looking real good. All players had 2 points or more. Let's check out the goalies. And Lundqvist played all 7 games, a .892 save percentage, 3.10 goals against average. That's going to have to be better this season, but a good start and a good look to start. Go ahead and simulate to the Detroit game. Now we'll go take a look at the free agent signing. We know that guys like Werenski, Bufflin, Atkinson, all on the market right now, and they should be signed. So we'll go take a look at that. We'll see no trades to report. We'll go check the signings out. So Chandler Stevenson, Siegenthaler, Gauthier, all RFAs. So you go down the line. Bjorkstrand signed with Ottawa. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Teams with a lot of cap space are going to be able to sign these guys. Roslovic, Barzal, Jankowski, all RFAs. Andrew Peake going to Ottawa. Boone Jenner to Ottawa. So they had a field day in terms of signing guys. Bufflin to Detroit. Rangers getting some center ice support. Werenski going to LA. So all teams with lower cap space. Check that. Higher cap space. Able to pick up those guys, and that makes the entire league as a whole more competitive without diluting necessarily the skill level. So we'll go ahead and simulate all the way to the trade deadline and see if there's any changes to be made then. We are now at the trade deadline in what turned out to be a pretty solid season so far for the Columbus Blue Jackets. We will not be trading any players, so I will skip the trade deadline. We'll probably get a couple of blockbusters trades, but you can see 28, 25, and 8. So we're 3 games above 500, which is very impressive for this roster. Obviously, a couple overtime losses that you would have rather had the 2 points coming back, but that's how it goes. But we did start off the year 3-1-1. As you look back here, we're able to put up goals, which is a great sign moving forward. I think we do give up a lot of goals as well, though. So those couple last weeks, not too bad in terms of goals against. And then you go down here, big win, 13-1 win against the New York Rangers, who aren't having a fantastic season despite having signed Dustin Bufflin. So 20, 38, and 4 where they stand. That's a divisional rival, so that's a good sign for us. We'll go take a look at the stats, maybe create a little change in the lineup if needed. 50 points for Duncan Keith, leading the team in points-wise. And Kovalchuk, 22 goals, 27 assists. Fantastic season for the second line, and that's exactly what I was kind of aiming for. They really seem to not have slowed down at all since the preseason. Playing them on the second line, getting second line matchup, so that's perfect there. Jason Spezza, third line center at 48 points. Fantastic stuff. You see the minuses. Phil Pula, he does play with Spezza, so that third line produces, but still on the wrong side of the plus minus. Trevor Daley, that third pairing, minus 23. That definitely hurts, but not too bad overall. So really that third pairing is what we could change up, but there's really nowhere to go if you include what we have on or take into account what we have in the top 4. You really don't want to dilute the lineups that much. So Lundqvist looking good. 1 game above 500. Mike Smith, 2 games above 500 with 900 save percentage or higher apiece. So it's looking pretty good. If we're able to win a few games above 500 before the end of the season, we should be able to make the playoffs, which again is pretty extraordinary considering this roster. So we'll sim till the end of the season, and I'll catch you on the other side. And we finally wrapped up the season. We finished with a 35, 35, and 12 record. So again, lots of OT losses, and that really ended up hurting us in the end, as the Blue Jackets did not make the playoffs. They fall 13 points out of a playoff spot, with Joe Thornton leading at 66 points. So again, we've talked about this team in the preview and how legendary that team would have been many years ago. This is not the same team nowadays. They are extremely well-reputed players. They're still efficient at playing the game, but in a different way. It's a lot of leadership on this team and a lot of experience, and you can't discredit that. But in an 82-game season, it's bound to cost you, and that's what happened here today. So Joe Thornton ends up with 66 points, a +5, not bad. Wonder where Trevor Daley is in terms of plus minus, because we know he struggled with, -29. He struggled a lot with Ron Hainsey, -23. Only 6 assists on the year, so that just kind of paints a picture how the bottom kind of fell out. Zetterberg 9 goals, 11 points, so not a whole lot from that bottom line. Jokinen not bad playing on that fourth, but still just wasn't enough to get the job done. I'm actually surprised how competitive this team was for a very long time. So, hey, credit to the veteran players. And as we're about to set to wrap up this simulation, we see the Pittsburgh Penguins come out as Stanley Cup champions. So Sidney Crosby continues his dominance in the NHL. And that'll do it for this simulation. So here's a look at the final standings, and obviously the Columbus Blue Jackets, being the only team on the board right now, finished the season with 82 points, good enough for a 23rd spot in the league with a flat .500 record. The goals for and goals against were relatively close, still with a gap in favor of the goals against. The power play wasn't too bad at 18.1%, good enough for 11th in the league. However, the PK really let them down at 77.6%, which finished second last in the league. The save percentage was marked at .903, which is a little bit below average, but the point leader in Jumbo Joe, obviously Joe Thornton, at 66 points isn't too shabby. The goal leader was Ilya Kovalchuk with 31 goals, and the plus-minus leader was Zdeno Chara. If we recap the predictions made during the preview episode, Nick came the closest with 33 wins, as Columbus got 35 in this simulation. Sam was pretty close with 28. Zach went up them with 29, and I was the lowest with 27. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Feel free to subscribe, like, and share. I'll catch you for the next simulation. Hockey Man out.